Good morning. Well, we're making room in the shop today because we got us a new project and I'm super stoked on it. It's not going to go anywhere for a while. Today I'm going to show you what it is. We're going to tinker with it a little bit and then it's likely going to sit for some amount of time while I gather the remaining bits and pieces required to really get it underway. But first things first, let's see if it runs. So without further delay, I'm going to show you what we got. Oh, and there you have it. Ain't she purty? Oh, I just love me a Willys. I've always wanted one. Now, there's more stuff I don't know about this than stuff I do know. But stuff I do know is that it has an F motor in it. That's all I know for sure. Everything else, not quite sure. Not quite sure about the frame. Thinking it might be an M38. Not quite sure about the grille or the hood, but fairly certain it might be a 38. One thing I know for sure, unless they cut it off, the frame is not a CJ2 frame. That's one thing I do know. I know some things it isn't. I just don't know what it is. But I love it. I love it. I'm gonna call it Little Willie. And I realize it's missing, you know, from there back. But, I mean, really, I'm two 2x4s in a milk crate away from running this thing, provided it runs, which is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna confirm that it is a running driving chassis, as that is what I was led to believe. It's not a deal breaker one way or the other, but it'd be nice to know what we're working with. But I am into it. All right, off we go. Never being one to be accused of being super patient. We're just gonna one-man this here unit in there. The old snow pushing rig. The only downside is we got to get off and steer it every here and there. That four-wheeler would be happier in low range. Whoa! Just bailed off the unit. Get her a little bit of that way. Adjustments. I could just turn the tires. This thing's actually not too bad to push around, but I already had the four-wheeler out. Plow's already on it because I just did the driveway the other day. So, I might as well do it the easy way. I've spent enough time in my life pushing cars around already, I figure. If I ever got one thing that would be nice to have around here, either be a skid steer with forks or some kind of forklift. I think a skid steer would just be more useful though, because skid steers are, being able to turn them on a dime like that's nice. That's my favorite thing about them. All right, we're ready for the final hurrah. Open up the door. Yep. Actually, it was really easy. Alright. Here's a couple of things that I've learned in the last 5 minutes. We have a 24 volt starter. I have a 12 volt universal coil. We gotta figure that out. Although I'm pretty sure she'll crank over fast enough on 12 volts. If not, I can just rig up a separate battery for the ignition, like just for testing purposes, and whatever, get a 12 volt starter, figure all that out down the road. Let's just make her turn and go bang bang. Let's see if she does that. So I'm gonna get to figuring out the wiring, trying to understand. I believe this starter was like hooked up to like a pedal. That's what it looks like. I don't know anything about these things. My neighbor is going to come over at some point. He is going to kind of have a look through her with me. He's a little more familiar with these. Now I could figure it out all by myself, but why when I could just draw on someone's experience. That's my favorite way to learn. Find somebody that knows, you know, what it is they're talking about and is willing to share that knowledge. Just like I like to share my knowledge with anybody that wants to know anything I know anything about, which is pretty much nothing, but regardless, here we are. So, I'm going to tidy up some stuff and cut open that wiring and just see what's going on there. I think I know what's going on. I think it's set up as a temporary ignition switch, but I'm just going to verify. See, make sure everything's on the uppity up in there. And before we put power to her. And yeah, away we go. The first thing we're going to figure out here is this distributor. And I'll see if I can get you in there. See that little slot down there? It's offset to one side, so we got to make sure we line that up and pop that in. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, that's that side. It was about there. Oh, I believe we got her. Click clack. Okay, that'll do the timing. So now, the other thing we got to figure out is, what is the firing order? I think we're going to Google that. Once we know the firing order, then we can put the plug wires on. Then I can sort out the coil. And then I can throw a battery in it and hot rod that starter. And away we go. So, we will see how this goes in the next 5 seconds. Well, with a whole bunch of messing around, I had a switch that worked in there, then the switch wasn't working, and then we had spark, and then we lost spark. And then at one point, there was no, burnt the thing off the points on the distributor, but as far as I can tell, it's wired up properly now. And yeah, we're ready to test her out. We'll put the choke on. I'm going to somehow see if I can fandangle all the things that need to happen all at once here. Because you got to push pretty hard on that starter with your hand. And yeah, let's see how she goes. We got power. We got power. Choke. Choke it like that. Neutral. Alright, let's let her eat. Oh, that was too easy. Although, mind you, I do have the boat gas tank on there, so I already pumped it into the carb. And I already poured some gas down there too, because, I mean, that's just where you start. Wow, that's exciting. Let's see if we can get her to go again. We might have to get the tuning on her. Well, this is exciting. It runs. Interestingly enough, it seems to be leaking coolant. And the rad was full. I checked that. And it's definitely coming out of the water pump. So, there's that. Now you can't really see it. You just have to take my word for it. Oh, and it only really drips out of there when it's running. Interesting. Interesting. Well, let's see if we can get it to idle. We got this far. Alright, we're going to give her another go here. See if we can't get a little bit of running action out of her. exciting. And it makes oil pressure. Alright. That's as far as I'm going to take it right this second. Because it's leaking coolant like crazy. And I should probably put the valve cover back on it. But yeah. That old feller wasn't playing when he said she was a runner. She's a runner. Okay. I have to find a body now. That's where we're at. We're find a body, seats. Although there's definitely going to be some milk crate, 2x4 milk crate action going. But this is where we're at. And I want a flat fender. So from what I figure, I think we're looking, I sat down for a minute there in the middle and had to get deep on this thing and try to figure out what it was. I think it's a CJ5. I think all of it is a CJ5. But it has been heavily messed with. There's no doubt about it. I don't know that one piece of this thing goes with another piece of this thing. There's no way for me to tell at this point because I just don't know enough. But that's little Willie. I'm excited. I'm real excited.